Hi everybody and welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Flynn and I'm here with Bianca Beers. And we'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land in which we're streaming from today. Pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. It's great to be hanging out with you again, Bianca. Thank you so much for jumping on Adobe Live with us today.
No worries. Thanks for having me yet again.
It's crazy. Like, every now and then I'll just jump back over and have a look at your Instagram. You're always doing so much stuff. Like all this stuff with NFTs that are happening right now. I was just chatting to you before the stream. You're like, yeah, I had this like mural and all this stuff. I won't mention the brand, like all this stuff kind of set up.
Oh no, you can mention it. I've been posting all about it.
Oh, have you?
Everyone should know.
I'll let you tell everybody about that project then, like as we're going through the stream, because it's always great to have a chat. But checking in with you, chat. It's great to see a lot of names and faces. Hello R&B, hello Festus, great to see you. Johanna's here, looking after us. Arij, I hope I'm saying that correctly, from Egypt. It's great to have you hanging out.
Wow.
You mentioned you want to learn more about this app in general. That's what we're here to do. So if you have questions as we're going along, I'll just turn my microphone up a little bit. Feel free to ask in chat. So you're in the right place. So if you're watching this over on YouTube, jump over to behance.net/live. We're here for an hour. We're hanging out with Bianca Beers. Going to be doing some illustration and all sorts of things. And we always have a great time with Bianca. So feel free to throw your questions in chat. And we're going to get...
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Friendly, safe space. And if you're in Sydney or affected by the lockdowns that are happening at the moment, like moi, then, much love to you. Let's get through this together. I think in my post I said we're going to be fighting the lockdown, which was a poor choice of words. We're fighting like the boredom and the monogamy of lockdown by hanging out and doing some creative fun stuff. That was a little bit better than my
That's the energy.
So maybe before we start, Bianca, for those that aren't familiar with your work and what you do, what's like your elevator pitch these days? You're doing so many different things, but illustrator, artist.
Yeah, I don't really have an elevator pitch. I'm just like artist, designer, creator. Yeah. So creator kind of covers whatever.
Covers everything else.
I'm mainly digital illustration, I guess, to be honest. But I do design as well for like brands or companies when they approach me for that. And then create, like I do photo shoots and stuff like where I style and shoot and edit everything myself. So it's just like creator's like an easy, I'm a slashy. Like a design slashy. Yeah. Are you guys sharing my screen right now? Like,
yes.
Is it
I can share your screen now. Yeah. So we'll jump over to yours now. So we have your Instagram up here, which is a great place to start.
Yes. I have a few things I want to talk about. So the one is actually the new NFT. Actually, I'll talk about that after. So the first thing is actually, I don't know if you know, but I did a collab with Cassetify on like a series of phone cases.
Right.
And that was actually a year ago. And it popped off, which was so good. But they've only just recently reached out to me again. They were like, okay, we've got this new campaign called Show Your Colors. And we'd love to work with you. They're working with 5 artists from around the world. And I'm lucky enough to be one of them.
Nice.
So they're just like highlighting, I guess creators that they think are really authentic and genuine and have kind of probably more wild cases. So for that, I'm really, really excited, just because they're like running the whitelisting and all that type of stuff right now. And if anyone wants to look at the range or shop it, you can head to, I've got links on my website. So the first thing I have is like a little kind of link tree, but on my own platform, because I really didn't want to have link tree in my bio. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't look as professional. Like, hello, I want to have Bianca Beers there. I'm paying for the domain.
Got to get your value
May as well
out of
use
that
it.
domain.
Yeah, exactly. If it's not for Instagram, then what's it for? No, kidding. Right. So I've got a few different links here. So the Cassetify range is here. And then launching all my NFTs on Foundation. I can actually show you guys. Open a new tab. So I've sold a couple. I've only posted 3 up there, but it's a really, really cool platform. And for anyone that's interested in NFTs, feel free to shoot through questions. That's a hot topic at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think, yeah.
Yeah, my last one. So these were all artworks I created last year, actually, and I never did anything with them. So I posted them up to kind of like monetize off them. And it's gone really well. I've sold these 2, and this one has not sold yet. And I'm thinking maybe it's because it's not animated. So note to self for future. But yeah, the last one sold for 4.5K, which is amazing because you can make that kind of money off something you just created for enjoyment. You know what I mean? Like these are things I just created just one day when I had a day off, and then I probably posted it to Instagram just, you know, to share it. But you can make profit off that, which is so fire. But what I'd really love to talk about is the NFT series I just created for, pardon me, do you know Binance? They're like a cryptocurrency platform / app.
I'm not as cross I mean, I've seen it now because that's like something that I saw that you were doing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, got to jump on here and show us how you did this and talk about this. Yeah, like 100%. That's definitely like, I was like, man, Bianca Beers is always up to something interesting. Come over, share it with the community. We'll have a chat about it. But before then, I wasn't aware of it. I'm not as deep into the crypto world.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm only new as well. I kind of got into it through Foundation, the platform that I was using initially. And I'm still going to use Foundation. They're amazing. But for the launch, so Binance is just a cryptocurrency platform where you can kind of buy crypto coin and invest in them. But they've only just launched an NFT platform of their own for creators, clearly. And for the launch, they've collaborated with 100 artists from around the world to release their artwork on the platform. So that's the series I'd love to talk about. So these are just thumbnails, but the actual pieces are animations. And the whole concept is based off the chakras. So the root chakra, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart chakra. And I've put so much effort into researching and embedding hidden symbols and meanings and angel numbers inside the artwork. So for me, each piece is not only a piece of art, but something to help people manifest, because, you know, I'm into all that witchy stuff. Yeah. Help people manifest, but also there's an audio track which plays and has a solfeggio frequency for each of the chakras. Oh, wow. So people, if they just have it on loop, they can meditate to it, which is really cool because it's a rainfall sound and then the om sound and the solfeggio frequency. So it's really, really good tool for spiritual kind of peeps. So I would just love to encourage everyone to, because so basically there are so many artworks up on this platform. So if you navigate from my Instagram to my website, you'll see the Gods of Growth page, and then you can actually check out each one on the platform. If you click on it, this one's got 13 B&B bids, which is pretty good. It's like a couple $1,000. But yeah, eyes on it means traction, means more likely to sell, which is amazing. And that's the end of my pitch. But we're actually going to today, I'm going to take the steps through of how I created this one, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah, awesome.
This artwork here.
Really and who are the people here? Like, who are we looking at? Because I think I recognize your partner in Love over in the top right.
No, that's not him.
No? I thought you might have been using him as a muse or something.
Oh, I should have. I really should have. I really should have. I should have done that. This actually nobody that I know. It was in a fashion magazine. I saw the photo. So
right.
But I've kind of tweaked them all so they don't exactly look like who they are. Right. So some of them are friends and some of them are just images I've seen either in a magazine or you know, stuff like that.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah. So we're gonna hop in, I feel. If anyone has any questions about NFTs or anything, let me know, because everyone I know has been DMing me about it, trying to ask how they can like get on the wave.
Yeah, is it like, you know, like DMs from like other artists and things like that being like, hey, like, how'd you do this? How'd you get involved? How's it work? Is that like happening a lot kind of in the
Not
background
even,
there?
yes, not even other artists, just people in general, like
Wow.
just wanting to know.
Yeah.
And it's like, haven't you heard of Google though? But I should do like a live or something where I just answer people's questions so they can just
Well,
stop
we can
asking
answer them
me.
here. There's no dumb questions here.
Yes.
Like, and I guess the other thing is like when something's really new, like everyone's kind of new to it as well, and it's still like
Well, it's
taking
been around for a
shape.
long time,
Yeah.
but only within Australia, like I guess in a more mainstream sense, like the
Yeah.
last 6 months probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
but right now is the time it's really popping. But anyway, so I feel like some of the guys in the chat, they've sat through some of my Adobe Lives before, and it's much the same process, like just working layers on portraits. But the second part of this is actually going to be really new because they're animated, and I had to learn After Effects to animate them, which I've been meaning to do for like 2 years, and I just kept putting it off. So yeah, there'll be some fun things when we get to that stage.
That's
But
awesome.
as for now, I always, well, not always, 50% of the time when I'm drawing, I start with a line, like an outline. And the other half of the time, I'll actually just go in with color and block out the shapes. And then if I want to add line work, I'll actually do it after for a bit of texture. But this is one of those times where I just sketched in the outline, just because for the type of series I wanted to focus more on making sure all the proportions were right, because essentially for the series, they're gods of growth. So they're meant to be like deities,
Right.
imbuing gifts to the owner. So I just want to make sure I got it on point. So for me, when I do that, to be less experimental, I've got to lay the line work down. So I laid the line work down. My next step is base colors. So I just like choose a point on the face. It's not really that technical. To cover it with, and then I'll just layer and layer and layer on top. So as you can see here, the hair is a kind of dull, dusty brown, and I'm just going to add in a little bit of like rendering to that. So
Cool. So when you did that initial like line work, is that like straight into Photoshop, or is that like on paper and then you scan in or anything, or is it just all straight into Photoshop?
Well, I have different ways of doing it. So sometimes I'll do it in a sketchbook, and then I'll take a photo with Adobe Capture. Do you know that app? I feel like we've spoken about it before. I'll take a photo there, and it converts it to a vector, and then you can just drop it into your artwork. But on this time specifically, I drew directly onto the screen just because I was at the computer. So usually when I draw on paper, it's because I'm drawing when I'm out. So you know, like on the train, or sometimes I go to the studio with my partner and just sit and draw while they're like making music. But yeah, I was at the computer with my intention, so I just cut the middleman out, save a piece of paper, and get cracking. So yeah. And I'm going off a reference image, which is what I do most of the time. I wish I was the type of person that could just make it up in my head. I probably could, but I just don't have the fearlessness for it, because it's more, if it's not something that already exists and you're just tweaking a little bit, there's more room for judgment and for people to like hate it. So that's a confidence thing that I definitely need to.
You don't seem like someone that lacks too much confidence.
Oh, look, it's all a facade. I'm really good. I'm good with relating to people. That's like my blessing. But when it comes to showing off like what I do, I get really nervous. So yeah.
I think we all do. I think we all do a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting, like having to think about, well, not having or getting to think about, we'll put it in a positive tone, adding music to like digital artwork, right? Like I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but that definitely jumped out at me. It's something like you've got the illustration, then it animates as well, which like based on your own like little A/B test before the animated one sold, and then the static one didn't, which is really interesting in that like NFT space. But then also with this new series, like adding music, like suddenly you have to have like understand like how does the music relate to this piece of work and what I'm trying to express and what people would expect. And then that's interesting. Like how did you like approach that? Like approach like adding music in a loop to these GIFs that would be appropriate?
Well, for me, it's not music. So it's actually a recording of rainfall.
Right.
Which,
okay.
And then frequencies. So I'll explain. So with the rainfall, I'm super into manifestation and meditation and stuff like that. And in the realm of manifestation, rainfall and rain in general, any body of natural water helped amplify manifestation. So it just makes it like 10 times stronger. So if you're saying, I want that my Jeep, it'll come quicker. Right. If you're listening to rain and you're in the rain, like standing in the rain or lying in the ocean, is available to us because lockdown life. So I wanted to simulate that. And so in the visual, I've got rainfall, but then I also have audio rainfall track. And then I thought, okay, it'd be really cool if I could have the in here as well, the sound, because it actually helps ground people and align them with like just nature in general. It's like the ultimate frequency. So I popped that in. There's actually 2 different frequencies that are accepted for the so I actually included both in each of the artworks, but then in each individual artwork, they have their own frequency, which is the accompanying frequency to each of the chakras. So they're different hertz. So 963, 369 or 9396 hertz. I forget.
Oh wow! Like you're getting into like the actual hertz of the
and then I just created the tones. Yeah, and I created the tones in the app in After Effects. They have a tone button, but the tone like it's a effect, like and you drop it in, and then you can alter. Yeah, you can alter the frequency, which is what I did. And there's different. It's like really sick. There's like so many ways to do it. Nice. And then for me, that was enough because I just wanted it to be a tool for meditation and manifestation. So not necessarily like a really sick, thing, but I'd really love to in the future. Because I mean, you're selling a piece of art, you can't really get music that already exists and put it there because that person who created it is entitled. Even royalty-free stuff, if you use it for something where you're making money, you're meant to.
Right. Yeah, it can get pretty complicated with like copyright laws and usage and stuff when it comes 100%. To music.
And you don't want to do that to yourself. You know what I mean? Like, okay, it might be cool for like the next couple of years, but then if that person finds it, you might be stuffed. So in the future, I really want to work with my partner on making an artwork because he's a musician, so we could formulate something that's really.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that sounds like a good collaboration to make.
Yeah, and I found like in the NFT space, people are more inclined to purchase an animation or something that's got something going on. So audio with an image. That's also part of the reason I did it. I just wanted it to be extra special, not just like a static artwork, like what I do every day of my life, Well, I mean, it's like impressive. Like it's quite a like bump up. There's so many more layers to it. On top of like that zone that you're comfortable in, teaching yourself After Effects and everything like that. It's awesome. Like it's incredible. Just checking in with chat. Steve was saying, Paul Tranny. So Paul Tranny from Adobe has animated pieces for NFT, and he got Jason Levine to write the music for it. So that's really cool. So that collaboration thing, like getting someone who's really in that music world to write the music for it, and then collaborating with add a new dimension to it.
Yeah
100%. I'm really excited to work with my partner on something that has like a proper music element to it. Should be really good. Just the chat know like a lot about NFT. Sounds like they do, which is really good.
Yeah, what do you think, guys? Do you have any questions about it? Has anyone here created an NFT? I've seen quite a lot
I'm interested to know that.
I've seen quite a lot of like Adobe Live, like kind of some of our regular kind of guests. Like I know a lot of the photographers I've noticed have gotten into it quite a lot.
I got Demis into it actually.
You got Demis, because I was about to mention Demis. So Demis Rosley, he'll actually be on the live stream in a couple of weeks as well. So he'll be jumping on. So maybe we'll follow up this chat with him. But yeah, I've seen him doing it, and Jam Tuner, and yeah, a whole bunch of the photographers seem to do it. I wonder if it's like a cross section between not being able to travel, because there are all these travel photographers who would spend like half the year traveling to gather all these assets. Maybe it's all come at like a really great time for photographers and cinematographers and things like that to use
100%, because make some, because really Demis makes money from traveling, because that's when he takes all his dope photographs. So I guess now, because of lockdown, he's had to chill on that clearly, and can just like revisit some pieces he's already made that he thinks are fire. But I think there's an issue in the NFT space, like because there's so much potential to make money. There are a lot of creators just creating as much as they can, just trash. It's like fast fashion, but in art. And it just cheapens the experience. But I think with time, those people are going to fall off, and like the real artists are going to still be standing, which is really good. And that's another reason why I wanted my NFT series for Binance to have a bit of a story and a concept behind it. Because I just think otherwise you're just in murky territory. Yeah, I don't want to be cast as one of them, just trying to get a money grab.
So just on the like checking in with chat about NFTs, Festus is saying some yes, 100%, not 100% knowledge, no pieces up for me. And Bruce was saying, I wish, just trying to wrap my head around the apps, using the apps. So do you mean using the
ask
apps
me a question? Yeah, I'm happy to help if you have any questions. Like what apps, as in the NFT platforms or the crypto wallets?
There you go. Ask away.
I'm here.
So I have another question from Sahil over on YouTube. If you jump over to Behance, we'll see your question a lot faster. But we can definitely ask it. So love the concept. Still curious about how the portraits are made. You think about what the chakras represent to whom?
Okay, so if you know anything about chakras, so for example, the root chakra is about stability and connection to like the physical world. So stability, safety, support. And so for that, that chakra, I personally wanted to imbue the buyer with wealth, because it's a very physical thing. Wealth brings support, wealth brings stability. And so in each piece, I've embedded the chakra Sanskrit name, the symbol, the color, obviously, and the solfeggio frequency in the audio. But then for the specific god, right? I drew someone that to me represents that. So the energy of the face represents that kind of that symbol or that blessing. And then I've also, because it's going to sound like witchcraft, and it is, I guess. But I'm not like a witch. I'm just, I'm just experimental.
That's exactly what a witch would say, though.
Anyways, let me explain. So there's this thing you can do in manifestation where, say you want wealth, right? There's a specific formula to creating a symbol that to you represents that. And then you could get it tattooed on you. You could draw it on your clothes. You could sketch it into a candle, whatever. And then it's whenever you see it, it's a symbol for that. And it's meant to, just focusing on it and having it just around you is meant to attract that to you. So I created a bunch of sigils for this range. So each title for each of the pieces, I've created a symbol for that. So for wealth, for joy, for drive, for love, for success, for creativity, and abundance. And so I've created these symbols specifically. They're ones I actually use in my own life, and I draw them on my clothes. But yeah, I've also included them in the images, and I've really carefully thought about the gift that I wanted to give along with the just tool. So majority of the pieces is actually about aligning with that chakra. So say you don't feel stable, or say you don't feel like you're for the throat chakra, you're not expressing yourself enough, communication's muddled, then you would be drawn to that one. But as an added benefit, I've added the sigil. So that's more just like a personal touch I've popped in to give more value to the pieces. So yeah, cool. I don't know if that answers the question.
Very cool.
Did that answer his question?
Yeah, well, let us know. Made sense to me.
Yeah, let us know.
So yeah, interesting, Bruce. Yeah, so we can actually cover this. So he said it's actually the apps that make the animation, so like Premiere or After Effects, and that's very cool because we're going to be covering that a little bit. We'll probably get into After Effects on Thursday, but we can definitely kind of chat a little bit about that. As Bianca was saying at the beginning, After Effects isn't like your normal tool of choice, so you've had to sort of teach yourself how to do it. I mean, you can do you've done a lot of animations in Photoshop as well, right? Like the first ones you showed that you put up, were they done using After Effects or were they done using Photoshop?
No, those ones were done using Photoshop. So I make GIFs for myself and for clients every now and then. And so I've created them in the past using Photoshop just because that's all I knew. And usually for clients, briefs are really tight turnaround. So you kind of got to do it the way that you know it. But yeah, it's simple enough stuff where it's just like a background changing or a small thing changing. So it's just like gives the illusion of lots of movement, but you're really just changing the background or whatever. But I've also created GIFs where parts have been moving. So say for a lipstick, it's been screwing open and then the top comes up and stuff like that. But that's a case where you need to redraw each frame, which is quite time consuming. So I'm glad I finally figured out After Effects, because with After Effects, you kind of just set the movement. So for you have them in two separate layers, and then you just say for the top, okay, move to the left this amount and then go back. Right. As opposed to actually having to manually do it yourself, which is really cool.
So it's a little bit like the difference between like kind of frame by frame animation and then, you know, if you get into After Effects, it can seem, you know, a little bit intimidating at first. Like the interface is a bit different, the terminology is different. I think that's why a lot of kind of, you know, graphic designers or illustrators used to Photoshop and layers and everything, used to a certain way of thinking. And then it flips things around quite a bit. But just by learning a little bit, you can, particularly if you're really proficient in Photoshop or Illustrator with illustrative work or artwork, you can really do simple like looping animations quite quickly. And After Effects kind of does the work for you. Whereas if you're using Photoshop, you can definitely do a lot, but it's a bit more of a manual process. Shout out to Bill Hope.
A lot more of a manual process.
Yeah, a lot more. Shout out to Bill Hope in chat, jumping in there. So he's just mentioned that he just got After Effects yesterday. Bit of a learning curve, but such a good change from animating in Photoshop. So Bill, are we going to get some NFTs from you at one point? Let us know. We had a great stream the other week with Bill. But yeah, amazing. Check it out. I think it's like a really interesting thing for like creatives to be thinking about like these days. I mean, Bianca, you're talking about being such a slashy these days, and it's so true. It's almost like you know, it's never been easier to really learn some of these programs. I mean, stuff like Behance, but also like even just Googling like the specific thing you want to do. Like if you you know, if you want to do a looping animation, and we'll get more into that sort of stuff next week, but if you want to do a looping animation, if you want to create it in Photoshop, you know, have to kind of do a frame by frame, each frame, and time it, maybe use onion skins or something and try to, you know, which is very difficult if you're not an experienced animator anyway. But, you know, sometimes you can Google things and say, how do I just make a looping GIF of something going in a circle? and it's like 3 buttons essentially to kind of get that done. So yeah, there's lots to learn, but to do simple kind of small things, like very specific things, I think you'll find that it's actually pretty easy.
Yeah, once you get the hang of how it works, because like I'm sure a lot of people who use Creative Cloud, I was going to say Suite, Creative Cloud will realize like each program has its own way of like thinking and using. So like when you're in a layer, there's a different way to like, so for example, in Photoshop, if the layer's highlighted, you know that you're working on that layer. But in After Effects, it displays differently. So you think that you're in the layer, but you're actually in a different layer accidentally. And you're like, why isn't this changing it? And it's actually changing a different layer completely. So you need to learn and really observe and remember like, oh yeah, I need to do this to be on this layer. Okay, cool. And so for me in that way, I felt like that was the most difficult part because it was quite fiddly compared to, well, that's just a personal opinion. That's compared to Photoshop, just because I'm not used to it, I guess. But once you know, and then you never do that again. So yeah. But in terms of this artwork now, I've been busy freaking talking, haven't I? So just like just laying down some basic shading, right? So before we started with a flat image, and I'm doing draping around her face. So we're slowly adding a little bit of shading. I do but with the soft brush, but I also do with a textured brush as well, from one of Kyle's packs. A bit more, so it's not just like, I don't know, I like it to have a little bit of a rough and not be too airbrushed, because I feel like sometimes the airbrush can make it look stale and lifeless. Personally,
that's cool. So it's interesting. So you kind of lay the color down, but then you're going back over it. Are you erasing it on that layer? This is a soft eraser. So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm probably going to drop the opacity down actually as well. But just and did you call it draping?
Yeah, so that type of blush where you put it around your eyes is called draping.
Okay, so it's like a makeup terminology.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hadn't heard that one before.
Yeah, you know.
It was hot in like the 80s. I always learn like so many things.
A little something. Okay, so we're slowly there. I feel like, how much longer do we have? Half an hour. So
a little bit less, 25.
There's no secret. I've already done this artwork. So basically we're just going over the steps. So let's just move on. Let's just say I've done this amount, which is just layer and layer and layer of what I did previously. Kind of got the base going. I'll add the scratchy notes, which is what I was talking about before. So within this layer, there are already some little scratchy bits and stuff that I've done to work it so it's not just airbrushing. So you could see there over the eyelid, I've got a little bit of scratchiness going on around the nostril, on the lips, but I just add a little bit more just to make it really pop, because from far away you can't tell and it looks flat, right? So whenever I do highlight, this is my own personal style. This isn't to say everyone should be doing this, but I'm just explaining how I do it. Yeah. When I do any highlight, I usually do it in pure white and quite thin and scratchy. That's just my style. That's what I like to do, because I like it to stand out and look like a cartoon, not like a real life image.
Right.
I think I told you this before, but I used to be really obsessed with drawing exactly lifelike how it is. So exact colors, getting the color exactly right, getting the proportions exactly right. And I had a life drawing teacher, and he was like, why do you do that? There's photographs for that. Like, what a waste of time. And I was like, wow, okay. And he just explained to me the idea of the more strict you are on how you stay to the true image, the less of yourself actually gets put into the artwork. Right. So yeah, I try to put more of myself into the artworks these days.
Oh, that's cool.
That's red.
Well, yeah, I mean that style, like the scratchy style, like on the hair and the eyebrows, like in contrast to like the almost photorealism of the textures and everything like that, just adds so much depth to it as well, like so much personality and character.
Thanks, Lynn. That's what I'm after, the personality and character, because before I actually was initially doing more of just airbrush style.
Yeah.
And it just felt stale. And also the line work was perfect. Like I used to use a Posca to draw it, so it was really, really clean and not scratchy.
Right.
And I just got so many comments from people like, oh, this reminds me of Grand Theft Auto and like comic books. And I was like,
right.
that's cool. That's cool. But I don't know, something about that just felt like, oh, I want it to be my own.
Yeah.
And even this, like you're never going to have completely your own work. Like there's always going to be influences from somewhere. But I don't know. Something in me wanted it to be more whole. Like scratches make it for some reason makes it feel more wholesome to me and more free, I guess. Like, I think it's just like already that's done a lot. You know what I mean? Just a couple of scratches.
Yeah. For sure. I won't read them all out, but lots of people in the chat like saying that, wow, this is incredible when you showed this. So.
Oh, yay. Thanks, guys.
It's quite a lot. Yeah, shading on point. Yeah, some lovely comments.
Appreciate it. So for each of the artworks, I created like eyes that were in the spectrum of the chakra. Right. So this one is the the third eye, which is indigo. So for the eyes, I just did something kind of, because it's kind of scary, but also kind of cool at the same time, like an eye that it's never going to be this color, an eye, but you know. There we go. Gorge. A little bit of a soft brush. Love that. Ugh.
And it's only a few layers that you have here as well. So.
Well, no, that's because I flattened them.
Because you flattened it, okay.
I normally, yeah. I normally work in, like, I'll have like hundreds of layers because I used to work destructively and then it just got tricky. So working in layers and layers and layers helps you like, oh wait, but that doesn't look pink enough. So, but if I put pink on top of that, it looks too pink. So if I put it underneath, it adds the hue without like taking away whatever I want to call it from the top. So once I'm happy with the way that section is layered, I'll merge them and then I'll label it like right cheek bronzer or whatever. Right. Just because I definitely had to learn the hard way. I should have. So I flattened the layers just to make it more simple for this this tutorial. So I kind of set it in like four different steps. So the outline, the block shading, just block colors, shading, and then highlights. But because I merged them, it has the outline on it, which normally I have the outline sitting on top, so it doesn't get colored over. But oh well, just imagine that this white isn't going the black.
Have a question from chat. How does this approach influence how you learn things, how you learn new things and techniques?
This approach being what? Like clarification?
Yeah, maybe clarify that one.
Sorry, guys. Like as in working digitally or?
Don't know. Johanna, let us know. Clarify that one and then we'll ask it again.
So I just added a little bit of white on the edge there to give a bit of a glow factor, which is cute. Love that. I'm gonna add it to the neck as well.
And do you think about like where the light source is?
Yeah.
In terms of this, or are you kind of just freestyle it and just kind of go, oh yeah, that looks good or that looks good?
It's a bit of both. So sometimes I'll check the reference image. Other times I'll create it and I'll be like, oh, like this glow actually wasn't like in the reference image. There's no highlight on the face, but I wanted it to just bring it out a bit because it gives it that more like cartoony kind of surreal vibe, I guess. So yeah, sometimes I'll just decide I want to do something and I'll just put it there. And if it doesn't look good, I'll just delete it.
Yeah.
Love working in layers for that. You could just delete. Okay, maybe, yeah. I'm gonna add some highlight over the middle of the eyelids too. I really love doing shading on eyes because you can make them look glossy or you can make them look dark, or eyes are really fun to draw. I might soften that a bit. Cute.
So just checking in with chat. Yeah, talking a lot about, Johanna asked, are you a layer maximalist or minimalist? That's interesting.
Maximalist for sure. Yeah. But I don't know if it shows. Like I'll do heaps of detail like in one tiny little area and then zoom out, it doesn't look that like nothing's happened. But I definitely like, I punch up the saturation. So if there's an image, saturation times 10. I make eyes and eyelashes look bigger and lips bigger, just like that. So yeah, I would say I'm not a minimalist, unfortunately. I wish I was. Just tell by looking at my Instagram. It's a dog's breakfast because each image has so much detail, and I just sometimes wish, because you know, as an artist, people judge you on how your grid looks. And they're really cool, you know, fashion bloggers or whatever that'll like post an image of a wine glass on a table with like and it just looks so chic and like minimal and stunning. And then in the grid, it looks amazing because they're all minimal. But for me, like posting that, I'd be bored. It's just such a plain image, which is a downfall of mine personally, I think. But, you know, you kind of got to, and even like my artwork, like I feel like it's pretty gaudy. It's definitely not everyone's taste, but I don't know. And there was a period where I felt embarrassed by that. But
really,
that's what I enjoy. Yeah. But if that's what I enjoy doing, because it's not like highbrow art, it's just what I enjoy and like I'm sharing it. And who am I to be able to talk with Adobe based off that? You know what I mean? Right. Especially when some people have like high concepts to their art and they've studied for years and years. Sometimes it just feels like, damn.
So it's like that kind of imposter syndrome thing coming through.
Definitely. Yeah. I wonder, I can move it. I could. The screen that has both of us, like the little cameras, was in the way of my color selector tool. So I was having a bit of trouble, but I just realized I can move it, which is great. Love that for me.
Get me out of the way. Yeah. Don't need me.
So yeah, I feel like everyone that I know as well in the creative fields, they all get imposter syndrome at some stage, which is kind of sad.
I think just about everybody does. I think it's hard to see on the outside, but a lot of people that you'd think would never think that way, I think do. Certainly at times, maybe not every day, maybe not for every project, but I think at times everybody has those feelings.
100%. I got to agree. Let me know if we got clarification on that. But yeah, as you can see, just those tiny little scratches I've done have already brought it up like pretty well. Love that.
Yeah, like the texture in the hair like looks incredible.
It's just scribbles. Look at that. It's literally scribbles. That's my favorite part. Yeah.
Like, how did you do that?
It's just scribbles and I love that because it's easier, I find, to do certain things with these scribbly kind of more loose technique, which I never would have done before because I was just so precise. Yeah. But yeah, I love it. Saves time and it's just fun. Like it's more free.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So I've just got a question from Bill Hope in chat. Thanks for the question.
Bill Hope, love him.
Hey Bianca, you often draw quite beautiful people. I've been experimenting with drawing neutral or everyday looking people and found it really interesting. Have you ever tried that?
So here's the thing. Have I? Yes, I have. But for me, it's not about beautiful. It's about like character or style or energy. So for this is a friend of mine actually who I'm drawing right now, and for me obviously she is stunning, like absolutely stunning, but she is a really, really creative force, like amazing artist, and that's why I chose her for creativity, which was the third eye chakra. So I just wanted the person I chose to embody each piece. But just in general, I don't just draw attractive people. Like 50% of them are actually ugly, but I've just
brutal. Which one?
No,
I'm kidding.
Not going there.
Not go into that.
But I guess I have I'm very vain, and I have an obsession with beauty. So I may just make them look like, if their eyes are too small, I'll make their eyes bigger, and I'll make their eyelashes longer, and I'll pout their lips up. So that's just probably my own problem. I have a hang up with beauty. But maybe I should, but what's enjoyable about that? Drawing, like, okay, yeah, so they're a plain looking person. Say they're plain. What is the excitement? Like, at least if they're really scary looking, or they're really stylish, or they pull a certain face that's kind of like weird or quirky, I can draw that, because that to me is interest. But if they've just got a plain face, plain energy, plain, like, I don't know, to me that's not exciting, and I don't feel like, for example, this is a good example. The Kardashians are hot, right? They're really hot. But I personally am not interested in them at all. And I've been told time and time again, you should draw the Kardashians. They share like artworks from fans. I was like, literally, I have no interest, because their face is, yeah, it's hot, but it's not interesting. You know what I mean? So it's more about interest for me and less about.
Sounds like it's a lot about character and energy that's happening.
Yeah. Like, I couldn't explain it, but I have drawn people that I would say are plain, but then when I drew them, they looked more beautiful. But it's more so me interpreting their spirit, like if it's a friend, like interpreting their energy the way I want to, and then adding, like, punching up the color. So punching up the blush, punching up the lipstick color, which is why it may look strikingly more beautiful. And then you could say, maybe I just focus on beautiful people, but I don't think. Yeah.
Cool. That's a great question, Bill. I like that. We've got into some interesting territory.
Also asking Bill, like, so what have you found with drawing, like, okay, say plain people or boring people? What's been your experience with that? Like, I'm interested to see, like, has it made you think differently, or see people as beautiful walking down the street that you wouldn't normally? Like, I'm interested to know. Maybe that's a cool exercise to get into.
Yeah, that's super cool. Great question. Let us know, Bill, if you're there. Super interesting question. Just checking in with chat. Cool. Hey, we've only got like 7 minutes left. Wow, this is crazy. So I'll use this opportunity while I'm having a chat to talk about. So we'll be back on Thursday. So it's Thursday here in Australia time. So it's the same time, but just in 2 days. So in Australia, it'll be Thursday. If you're in the US, like North America, I think it'd be like your Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday evening, I think. Yeah, Wednesday evening. So yeah, let us know. Well, don't let us know. We're going to be here live anyway. What I should be saying is we're going to be jumping into kind of part 2 of this. I know there's been some questions about like animating, chatting about NFTs at the beginning as well. So in the second session, Bianca's going to be taking this artwork and showing her new chops in After Effects.
Finally learned a new skill.
Which would be really cool, because there's quite a few people in chat saying they've just picked it up. I know Bill saying they just picked up After Effects. Like even I don't use After Effects all that much. Like, I really only use it for like certain things, and it's something that I've had to go away and learn and then apply it. And now I'm like, oh yeah, cool, I know how to do that one thing.
What do you use it for?
We use it for like social posts some of the time, for the intro, like editing the intro video and the outro video for this, and just basic animations, mostly for like assets, like social assets and things. No client work, nothing like that. What time is the next live broadcast? It's at 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, so it might defer depending on where you are. But if you look at the time now, we do an hour stream. So if you go back an hour, that's what time it will be. So it's the same time that we did today in 2 days. Time zones are fun.
Yeah, love them. So I just skipped ahead when you said we have 7 minutes. I was like, oh, okay, damn, better get cracking then. So I just went to the layer, which I already pre-saved, which is the finished piece, which we see here. And then just adding the background. So for this series, as I mentioned, they're based off the chakras. So this one is the third eye chakra, which is indigo. And then for me, like just in general with my artworks, as people who follow me or know my work would know, I often include plants and flowers in the background just because it's something I love and something that speaks to me. I enjoy it. But also for this series, I specifically used it because nature helps with manifestation and also with alignment. So I felt like it tied in with the Om frequency, my style as an artist, but also the purpose of the series, which was for alignment and manifestation.
Awesome. Yeah, and that blue's like really popping. Yeah, a lot of people in chat saying that as well, like with the gradient and everything. Where are we?
Amazing. So I actually, for part of it, so as you can see, that's the finished piece, but we'll Google for the actual images of the chakra symbols and I have that many elements in the background. Third eye chakra. Yep, image. And then I just used plain. These are all way too complicated.
Haven't loaded yet on my side. Oh, there they are. Okay, cool. Right, so this is the third eye chakra?
Yep.
Cool.
So they each have a different symbol with the meaning. So save that. So now I'm going to drop it in. File, place embedded, desktop, there we are. And then say I want it here. I'm just gonna maybe blue, draw over it. Cool. And then delete that. Boom. And then I think I'll reduce the opacity. And then edit. Also, I don't know if anyone's interested, but for this, right, when I made the series, every single opacity, every like rotation, everything was with the angel numbers, so like 11, 22, 44.4.
All right.
I went hard with like the background work. I put in work, I tell you, like I thought of everything.
Wow. Got your rationale like all sorted. Like why are there that amount of flowers? Because of this.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you can already see it coming together, but yeah, we need to do a lot more work.
Oh, that's incredible. We are running out of time, so I think we might need to wrap it up for today. We'll pick up from here on Thursday as well.
Amazing.
So I just got a response from Bill that I just wanted to fairly like throw in. He's been making some drawings about people's lives at work, and the blank faces have been really interesting because they feel like a bit of a template for people to project their experiences onto.
Wow, conceptual.
Deep. We got deep, you guys. Very. That's great. I'm really happy with that. But yeah, thank you everybody for hanging out today. We're going to be back, on Thursday. So very, very soon, just in 2 days, and we're going to kind of continue on from here. Bianca, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Worries.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure with you as well.
Awesome. Stay safe, everyone, and we'll see you in 2 days. Bye.